2 games here at WSG.
Okay.
I'd probably just bias because I feel like the few games I've seen, he's lost and looked kind of lackluster. There were a few teams that were just played very fast paced, and his life steal like trying to farm Midas Radiance, and he's just sitting on 2 to 3k gold towards his Radiance while his team loses all their towers.
Yeah.
Which is obviously maybe not the life steal's problem. That's something the other 4 heroes are meant to be preventing from happening.
Oh. We got a double support tower pushers. Jakiro and Shadow Shaman.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting. And a Chaos Knight.
Do you think that's like a big part of why they're being picked, or is it more just they like these supports?
I think Shadow Shaman is not being... I think Shadow Shaman is being picked partially for that reason, and then the other part is he's just such a great disabler. As a 4 position, if you give him an Ether Lens, and then you get him to his level 15, like, Shekels becomes this amazing ability because the range is so long.
Yeah. I could see that talent being tweaked, or maybe move it to, like, level 20 or something. Maybe move to level 20 and make it, like, plus 200 with cast range. Because for a support, you're getting level 15 consistently as a 4 position, but the ability to counter BKB heroes with such a long cast range on a Hex from Fog is kind of crazy. Definitely, I mean, what makes a hero unique and why it's being prioritized. So
we haven't seen too much of Chaos Knight, that's for sure, right?
Look up some numbers. I'm
not sure if I've
maybe
casted
one
a single one.
game. I saw at least one. But I'm scrolling pretty far down on Dota Buff to get to Chaos Knight's win rate, and it's been 5 games, 20% win rate. I mean, we'll see who picked it. So Sammy's Boys. Is that NA Dota? That's Team.
Okay.
Team picked it twice.
Well, that's why it's got a losing win rate.
Yeah. Gorilla Pride. TFT played it once, and then Gorilla Pride. So 2 Gorilla Pride and 2 Team games and a TFT game. Not sure who won with it.
I'm going to guess Gorilla's Pride versus the Nemiga Gaming.
It looks like it was TFT, because they 2-0'd
they
Team
2-0'd Russia,
right?
that's
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, they beat Team Russia with it.
Dude, this hero,
CK?
yeah, when it first came out with its whole crit that was kind of out of control, and it was this amazing lane winner.
Yeah, free
Everyone
tangos.
was bugging me. They were like, oh, why aren't you playing this hero? Why aren't you playing this hero? And I'm like, the thing is that I kind of always refuse to play something when I feel like there's something that's been over-buffed, because you know it's going to get nerfed back down, and then it's just not going to be the same. Right? So Chaos Knight, I think, was a great example of that. Is like, okay, yeah, you can, like, it's a great offlaner when you can bash somebody on the head for 150 damage and get a shit ton of life back. Like, yeah, that's really cool. But what happens when that gets nerfed? Which you know it's going to be. It was very clearly overpowered. And is it actually going to be the same hero? I don't think so. And we've definitely seen the fall of Chaos Knight. Quite dramatically once, like, that got nerfed, and then also I think people just adjusted to how it was played. I think it was one of those sort of things you just kind of forgot what Chaos Knight was like.
Yeah.
It's still, like, at the end of the day, it's still a hero that has a very long cooldown on his ultimate. And it doesn't necessarily, like, I most often compare it to Brewmaster, where I feel like Brewmaster's ultimate is a lot better for winning the team fights. Even though it doesn't do as much damage, it's just, like, such a good catch and everything, right? You've got this tornado, you've got this stun from the Earth Panda, the Fire Panda is doing, you know, a good amount of damage. I think for, like, this Chaos Knight to succeed, you almost have to have Blink Dagger 100%.
Yeah, and he doesn't fit the mold of the classic Blink stun initiating offlaner. Like,
yeah.
Chaos Bolt is a projectile, you can kind of dodge it, or it's just not like a amazing stun compared to some of the other more typical offlaners when they initiate.
It's definitely a greedy offlaner in that regard.
Yeah.
You want a lot of farm on it for sure, because it's gonna have to turn into, like, sort of semi-carry since it's not the greatest initiator.
And I feel like most of those semi-carry offlaners normally don't rely on a long cooldown. Like, you think of, like,
true.
Nature's Prophet, for example, as a 3, or even, like, I don't know, Razor's being played as a 3. It's like these heroes that are just always ready to fight. If you're playing a farming offlaner, you need to just have this low downtime.
Ooh.
Okay.
Magnus.
Mag PA.
Mag PA. Wow. That
Tinker.
Was a pick.
That's what we were getting
Tinker, huh?
excited about. Iceberg. Is he super well known for his Tinker? I think more like SF and OD with Iceberg, but I'm guessing he's played quite a bit of Tinker if he's busting it out here. It is a game where catch-wise there is very little for this Tinker. They don't have any real good Tinker answers.
And this is definitely like a game that you want to just delay as much as possible. I think Keen Gaming's time is like very solidly in the mid-game. They can go late because PA is still kind of insane with level 25 Stifling Dagger, add in a Battle Fury, or like Battle Fury and Empower, or maybe just the Empower. I'm not sure. Yep. I actually don't know if you go the Battle Fury with PA if you have Mag on your team right now.
And you've got the Cleave talent if you really want it to.
Yeah.
I see kind of 50-50 with PAs. Well, if you're not getting Battle Fury, normally you'd get the Cleave talent.
So you're just going to get a faster Deso potentially?
Yep. Could be, what, the Vlad's hero too, potentially? I don't know if Magnus wants to really get that item.
Yeah.
We'll see how fast-paced they want to play, because Team Ukraine, you've got this Lifesteal trying to get his Radiance, I imagine, so it's going to be a bit slower from them.
So this part of the game looks really good for Team Ukraine. And in fact, there's not a lot of catch for the Tinker. They delay out the game like they're probably going to win. Chaos Knight and Tinker are going to transition into late game pretty well. Lifestealer is obviously going to be a pretty solid carry going late game as well. The problem I see with it is there's a bit of a dysfunction in that you have 3 very greedy cores. And you have 2 supports that are like team fighters and want to take towers. You have nothing to enable. You have no playmakers in that regard. You have nothing to enable these supports to allow them to take towers, and that's slightly concerning to me.
Yeah, they may have to be playing strictly together to make those plays happen, or telling General and CK like, dude, you got to come make something happen. Because if Lifesteal is going Midas Radiance, it's up to General CK to not play too greedy almost.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they can get him and Midas as well. Theoretically they could, because Tinker you can delay the game out. That's like one way of approaching this game, but I feel like, you know, Mag PA are going to accelerate very fast and hit this BKB timing in the mid game, and that's where you don't fight into BKBs. BKB PA plus Razor is where King Gaming are looking to kind of like end the game, get Roche and end the game at maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah. Team Ukraine also has like the other 2 things besides pushing towers is that both Jakiro and Shadow Shaman are really good at killing creeps. And then so is the Tinker. So they kind of make up for Lifestealer and Chaos Knights. They're both kind of poor at just being able to quickly shove out waves. So, you know, like in general, just being able to kill creeps quickly does help delay the game. Just creates space for your cores to be able to play jungle more often.
Would you agree that it also looks like, despite, you know, they don't have these active cores, they just have stronger lanes with like Shaman, Jakiro supporting some pretty strong laning cores on the Team Ukraine side?
Yeah, probably. I think Chaos Knight will beat PA in lane. And they're putting, I think they have to put Razor mid, right? Like we can see that's what's happening, but I don't think Mag's
not really known for his strong laning.
Yeah. In which case you have Mag versus Lifestealer, which it can be okay just because you have this buffed up Empower, increasing your right-click damage. And he's got 2 supports behind him, apparently. I'm sure this is just going to turn into dual lanes, but I don't think they're going to threaten the Lifestealer enough to stop his farm. Whereas I could see Chaos Knight threatening PA enough to do that.
Yep. Interesting. Aloha Dance playing the 4-position Shaman's actually, for now, kind of headed safe lane. They're sending Jakiro down bottom as the 5. So we'll see if that remains the case. Perhaps just feeling like the Jakiro is going to be a better partner to bully the PA with. A bit more of a sturdy support who's just nowhere near as squishy as a Shadow Shaman. It does seem like we'll see a 2-for-2 rune exchange, as King Gaming will get both top and Ukraine will get both the 2 bottom bounty runes.
I'm not sure what Sioma's doing. Like, he's behind the tower. You can kind of see, like, he was just
Did they not
around.
see the PA? Maybe it's like you think they're going to... Or is he going to body block the wave? No? I don't know. Scouting lanes, who knows?
Yeah, maybe he was just like, he thought the PA or the Bane was going to block the creep wave, and so he was going to get damage on them.
Yeah, I think then they'd seen 3 heroes top, so I think he knows if PA is walking from the tier 2 to the tier 1, like, you know, blocking the creep wave, you're going to get free harassing.
Yeah, easy damage.
But PA, knowing that there was no support to babysit him, was already hugging the tier 1. So it will be a 2v2 lane. You mentioned, yeah, Bane going to head down bottom. They send the stronger of the 2 laning supports to secure the PA's lane, leaving the Rubik up top. Rubik had boots, so I imagine he is going for some wave pulls, which it looks like he is kind of battling the Shaman up there for this little creep wave pull, but with the boots, he should be just fine.
I wonder how well the PA deals with Chaos Knight later on in the game. Because they counterpick CK with PA, right?
Sure, yeah.
I guess they just assume like the evasion is enough to keep PA alive if she's jumped by Chaos Knight Phantasms.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if it's like one position CK, you're fine because you're going to itemize into an MKB at some point.
Sure.
But playing as a 3, we're more likely going to see the Vlads. You mentioned even a Blink Dagger. It'll be much more utility build coming out of this CK, I can only imagine.
Right. It's our mid matchup. Razor versus the Tinker, which I should be like, I think there's an advantage to the Razor, but I don't think it's a massive one.
Yeah.
Just because of Laser.
I'm on board with that, but also haven't seen some Razor as Tinker in quite some time. So
no.
Back up top, it's going to be the Magnus you mentioned. Getting that power, just trying to secure some last hits with that. So far, off to a slow start, just the 4 last hits, 3 denies. But it's Rubik who got last hits. He has 4 last hits from the wave pull behind the tower. He's actually going for another lane of creeps pulled behind, but not quite able to connect that one. So, interesting approach to this off lane coming out from King Gaming. One we've seen a lot of with those waves being pulled behind the tower. Not quite as common as it used to be. That was a fun meta. Every single game, offlane is grabbing creep waves. Sometimes it was even behind the tier 2 tower. Other times it's the tier 1. It was pretty obnoxious for a while.
Offlane is the most abusive like lane mechanic lane. You know, like there's always some offlaners trying to pull some shenanigans.
Yeah.
You know, there was even there was the time where you could block the... So there was Earthshaker blocks, right, where you would Fisher and you would pull creeps. There was the Fisher blocking meta, or, sorry, Tusk Shard blocking meta.
Clockwork
that was very common. There was... even now, there's still a thing where you tiny toss creeps onto cliffs.
People get pretty darn creative.
Yeah.
I would say. And it's, like you say, it's all about messing with that creep equilibrium. Back at mid, Razor behind the tower with a lot of stolen damage here. First blood's actually going to happen elsewhere on the map, but this Tinker should be in all sorts of trouble here. He just needs vision for one more right click, and he gets it. Nicely done by the Razor to get a solo kill on Iceberg.
Yeah, Magnus did not pick up skewer. He went a 1-2-0 build, so when he was left alone by the Rubik, who did, like, I comes out, shackles you, and you're dead.
Oh. We're seeing this top lane not quite go the way Magnus is hoping. Bottom lane, PA in trouble, getting very low as... Won't catch it there. We'll catch the very end of it. The last right click from Slayer will finish him off. Jakiro CK, this is a pretty potent lane. Even with CK having, 2 points in crit, it's not like a weak way to lane the CK or anything. It's actually quite a good way to sustain your health in this lane.
Yeah, and I think this is like kind of as the lanes are expected. The Lifestealer and Chaos Knight both top CS, and Lifestealer never has to fear for his life, but PA kind of does. And looks like Shadow Shaman might actually die if all 11 spaces this right. He will be able to finish him off. Kaka will be... Oh! not actually traded out.
Barely enough health to survive through it, and always the weakness of Shaman in the lane stage. If you get gone on and you can't get away from him, you're very squishy and don't have any real good true escape.
Yeah.
Kaka getting the bottle charges up top. They get another bounty rune. Very value time to have a bottle on Magnus when you can get the double bottle refill for your lane. So that really gives them a strong edge now up top. Or at least as far as dealing with Shaman. Lifestealer is still free farming there.
Time to gank mid. Ruby's going to come in from the side here, toss him closer to the Razor. Unfortunately, the laser is going to stall things out quite a bit, but he managed to wait out the laser just in time and kind of maximizes or minimizes the amount of time it takes to kill the Tinker.
That was a lot of XP for Jakiro, who's now almost level 5 from getting solo XP on the Razor kill.
Holy shit.
He's going to be pretty happy, but they don't manage to keep the Tinker alive. And Aloha Dance finds a solo kill onto Kaka. So a lot of action around this middle lane, as we'll see 6-minute runes coming up, and it will be a double damage down bottom. Just Jakiro grabbing that, but pretty even laning stage so far, it feels like. Side lane's going a bit better for Ukraine, but the mid lane, Tinker not having much fun. Speaking of fun, down bottom, it is Keen Gaming trying to get a rotation here with 3 heroes coming down bottom. They've got the boots Rubik, trying to get the lift on Jakiro. They should be able to do it with the Stifling Dagger slow. Kaka holding on to the lift for now, perhaps knowing that there could be a TP if he goes for it too early. They are going to try turn, go on the Bane here. The Brain Scepter going to heal him up a little bit more. Chaos Knight wants to go for this kill. Just a 1-second stun, though. Now General needs to back off. No way for him to get any kind of retaliation in the 3v2 down bottom.
Yeah, it's kind of rough, especially since you're blowing through mangoes like that. Maybe it was, I'm not sure if they had vision of the fact that it was both supports were in that lane, but you definitely don't want to be going to jungle against a Bane and having one of those fights. It's just such an easy nightmare.
Another smoke gank. They want to keep bullying this Tinker, perhaps knowing that his item timings are probably some of the more important. He's the one that has to create the time for everyone to farm up right now. Instead, it's going to be the Shadow Shaman who's taking over the lane while Tinker jungles. They'll take that kill anyways. I think recognizing that they can maybe pressure the tier 1 mid.
That's rough.
Yeah.
You just dodge Chaos Bolt with Blur.
That's one way to go about it. Maybe that's where you mentioned that PA is the counter pick to the CK. That's one part of that matchup.
Yeah.
But it is both Ukraine cores going for Midas in the side lane. So this Tinker really needs to get a good timing on his basically boots travel Blink Dagger to keep these towers alive and create the space for these Midas stacks to get up and create that income. Really
important that Jakiro got that T-Ward. Just because, you're playing a Tinker, you're trying to get your boot to travel, you're going to be playing jungle not stop at this point. So they need to make sure that it becomes as much as a guessing game when Keen Gaming try and gank the Tinker.
Back in mid, they have caught out the Rubik here. Should be an easy kill. Oh, okay, one more right click. There we go. Barely gets it in the end. Aloha Dance. Able to snipe that last right click and just a support kill, but a kill nonetheless, as well as the mid tier 1 tower being held pretty decently. Not too much damage being dealt to that tier 1 tower right now.
That was a Phantasm used. Not expecting that.
He's not really using it in a way to get some early farm or anything. He's trying to go for a kill perhaps, but not quite the way I would have imagined. Like you say, an early Phantasm. It's a big mana cost. He is going to pressure the tier 1 tower, but the Phantasm has expired. Meanwhile, back in the mid lane, Shaman's been going on here. The slow from the Plasma Field with the Rubik lift to follow it up. Get some good damage still, and again, we're going to see that pressure on the mid lane. They really want to take this tier 1 mid tower. I think recognizing that if you can take this tier 1 mid, you then suddenly have a lot of easy access into the enemy jungle. Both jungles, really, when that tower is out of the way.
Yeah, I think that is one cause for concern, is that Keen Gaming do not actually have any natural tower pushers themselves, neither cores nor supports.
Yep.
Unless you're going to go like Axe on Razor or something. So this kill's going to be really big.
Yeah, and Tinker gets it. Although if he pays for it with his life, it is reliable gold, but he probably had some other gold that he did end up losing anyways, as Tinker goes down on the way to those boots of travel.
I believe he did buy the boots. Yeah, they're in their courier.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's like I think Tinker's like the most important hero it's so critical to take outer towers against him, right? Because they just serve as TPing points for the Tinker. Like, once you get TP boots and Blink Dagger on the Tinker, like, taking outer towers becomes so arduous and just annoying.
And when you've taken the outer towers, you can put those like cliff wards to hunt him down in the lanes as well.
Yeah,
so you can't really
true.
do that when those towers are up. But if you take tier 2s, a lot of those nice cliff wards are like around those tier 1, tier 2 areas. When it's nighttime, you can get in very easily into those trees to plant them undetected. But that's something they've got to be able to take towers, and that's not easy for their draft. What's PA? Is there going to be a Vlad's? Yeah, has a Vlad's queued up first on Old Chicken. So Treads, double Wraith Band. I think you really need to prioritize being able to take objectives. And I think like a Vlad's Deso build, to me, would make the most sense here for the PA.
Yeah, and then that'll free up the Magnus to go for like the fastest Blink Dagger he can get.
Yeah. Well, Tinker with Boots of Travel now. He's going to be quite happy to just farm up his jungle and do his thing. Got them. He buys the bottle after that, so he went for like a super fast Boots of Travel with no bottle, no soul ring. Just making sure he gets it as quickly as possible.
And despite like the multiple deaths on mid, his mid tower is still up.
Yeah.
So this is
all their towers, in fact, still up.
Yeah, the timing of this is pretty good.
Yep. Well, Dire, Ukraine, they've taken a tower already with the Serpent Wards, and they're more likely going to be the ones who pressure towers here, even though they're playing a greedier style with the double Midas. King Gaming themselves, you've got a Magnus and power. There's some element of greed on their side going, even if they don't have the Midases to go with it. Back at top, bit of a dive going on. I believe Magnus is searching around, catches the TPing in Shadow Shaman. And Old 11, is he going to go for an RP? He doesn't actually have it. Gets the Skewer instead on the Shadow Shaman. They're going to bring Shaman down first. No one on the Life Stealer. Could be next in line, but they don't really have a whole lot of damage to bring him down with. Perhaps with the Bane here, they do have a Fiend's Grip here. They're going to go for any kind of a grip on Chaos Knight. Stolen fantastic from the Rubik, as Dark just doesn't have a good tag to Fiend's Grip until now. He finds the Life Stealer through the raids. They are stealing damage as well. This looks pretty poor for Dire. Ukraine going to lose one more, even with the Ice Path coming in. Now the RP makes an appearance onto the backlines. That's going to help roast down the Tinker. And King Gaming are just overrunning Ukraine, recognizing that they are just not ready to fight.
Holy crap. I was getting really concerned for Keen for a little bit there. I was like, you didn't take a tower before Boots of Travel on Tinker. The Midas are seemingly going unpunished. Like, they've taken a tower against you. It's like, you got to get something going eventually. Well, shit. That's a team wipe right there.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's still only a 1k gold lead. It's the crazy thing. But they need to keep fighting, and they definitely can. It's a much bigger lead in terms of how ready they are to fight, because 4,000 gold of that is of the gold on the Ukraine side isn't Midas's. So.
Net worth wise, let's see. The cores are almost all higher than the cores on the side of Dire after taking that team fight as well as the tower.
Like King Gaming's kind of hit their early game item timings. Aether Lens on Rubik, PA's got the Vlads, Razor has the Treads Yules, Mag has the Blink Dagger. Everyone has their first key item, whereas Dire, everyone's just got their Midas. There's not a single item outside of upgraded boots on the Dire side right now.
What a gross build on this Ukrainian team. Two Midases and a Tinker. All right, that sounds like a meme Dota 2 team name.
Only two? You need some more. You need some support Midas.
4
as well.
Midases and a Tinker. There you go.
I guess Shaman's not really a Midas hero. You just want to get your Aether Lens ASAP. And there we go. There is an Aether Lens on Aloha Dance, so he actually does have... He's the only one with a key item here on Team Ukraine as a 4 position. He may be in some trouble. He did snipe the Bane, but he's going to get jumped on by the PA. Doesn't have a good escape here as Tinker comes... Well, actually cancels his Boots of Travel lane here. They're still hunting down the Shaman in the trees here. PA needs the vision. Will get it with a Blink Strike, and also the kill down bottom as well. The Serpent Wards being cleared up. Some of them farmed by the Razor, some of them by the Creeps.
A lot of rotations, so Chaos Knight knows he has space here at this top lane, but
how much space?
Kaka with Fade Bolts. Well, actually, the Phantasm's gone.
He's
but
in trouble with the grip here, surely.
He really is.
Buy some time. Maybe he jukes in the trees. He needs to find a hell of a spot to TP out from, but there's going to be a lift. He's got no TP as well, so they're going to Nightmare, and they can just wait for rotations. There's a Fiend's Grip as well.
Why doesn't he have TP? I mean, he wouldn't have gotten out, but still, like...
Yeah.
This team wants to outmaneuver you. If you can't fight, you have to outmaneuver the enemy, right? So...
Yep. Bounty rune fight coming in. Magnus considers an RP, backs off though, but the kill potential on Ukraine isn't really there. Even though they kind of catch King Gaming in like a 3v2 at the bounty rune, they don't get anything for it. And I believe most of those bounty runes went to King Gaming. They've gotten 2 so far, as there's still 1 standing on the map unclaimed.
I'm waiting for this sick Phantasm to come into play that Rubik stole.
Oh, yeah.
Time to do it up again. I'm like imagining, like, what do you
yeah.
do with this Phantasm? I'm just like, maybe you just pop it and like send illusions all around the map, you know?
Use it for scouting.
Like, is it really going to be
spells.
that helpful for you in a fight?
Yeah. Well, he's going to pop it now. There we go. Gets the bonus one as well. So has the extra illusion, and they are looking to step around this mid lane. King Gaming have complete control of this game right now. Tinker does have some ability to defend towers, but without a Blink Dagger, it's very difficult to actually defend objectives.
Nice skewer.
And yeah, they'll catch the Chaos Knight there. This Radiant Observer Ward, very well set up to catch people like General there or the Tinker. If Tinker comes to defend, you bet they're going to try jump on him and find those pickoffs. Dark almost gets another catch up top.
I'll tell you guys, I have no like real personal relations with either of these two teams. It's kind of expected. Yep. But I am super biased towards Keen right now. Because I just don't want to see Ukraine succeed in this game. If you're going to go 2 Midases and a Tinker, like, no, this should get punished, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you should be able to get away with something like this.
Even with a draft that doesn't amazingly well push objectives, you can itemize and make your draft better against it. Like, they're going to hit this BKB timing where I just think they get an Aegis and they win every fight.
Yeah.
And even if they're not breaking high ground because of the Tinker, they're going to take all the outer towers, get Tinker wards up, and just... you're stuck in your base. That, to me, is how this game should play out.
And then it's a Tinker game. Like, even if you push it 50 minutes, like, you catch the Tinker dies, he dies twice, and then the game's over.
They've caught the Lifestealer with a grip here. Razor comes in with all kinds of damage being stolen, and he's going to get the kill on no one. And, I mean, you mentioned Tinker games. I feel like eventually Tinkers always do get caught. You can only play perfect for so long, and the nature of playing with Tinker often is you're just playing to stay alive. You're never really playing to push forward and win the game.
They got Deso on the PA now, so Roshan is a definite possibility.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for that one fairly soon. They're making a play around this middle lane. Smoked up, I believe, on the Magnus. They see Tinker here. Now they're going to make a jump here. Blink RP catches out 2. The PA follows up with the Empower. It's going to delete Aloha Dance and Iceberg. They want more as well. Lifesteal is just now respawning, but... I think this fight is already lost. I don't imagine no one's going to even try and come and take part in this one. General TP out will be successful, luckily for Ukraine, but it's still a 3-0, and Roshan should be free for the taking. Slightly annoying Macropie, but it does expire. They don't have the best heroes to tank this with, although they get an Illusion Rune, and they have the Vlad's Lifesteal, so they'll get this one way or another. And Tinker's, still with no Blink Dagger. It's so hard to play out on the map when you can just get jumped like that, when you don't have a Blink.
Yeah. I do feel like Keen has done a very good job at enforcing fights, but simultaneously, I do think that Ukraine has not done a good enough job not taking fights, especially with their Tinker. But, you know, that is kind of the problem where you have 2... greedy Midas cores who, like, there's no designated fighting hero whatsoever. Yeah. So, in order to do anything in this map, whether it's defending towers or pushing out lanes or whatever, like getting a pick off here or there, you got to bring somebody. And I think Tinker was the worst person to bring to these fights, and he's been the one who's died the most as a result.
And the end result as well is that these supports have no place to make. They've got 2 Midas farming cores and a Tinker. What do you do if you're a Shaman or a Jakiro? Your supports that can push out lanes, and that's what they're going to try to do, but then there's also all this aggressive vision that's going to catch them out, find these pickoffs. And they're going to poke around the high ground. They won't stick around. Tinker's going to come back. The Macropie clears the wave, but you know, whenever you can get damage on a tier 3 tower, you do it against a Tinker draft like this. So they get that tower down to almost half health, which is a win in itself. And it does look like top they've caught the Lifestealer. That's a bit of deja vu. I think he was trying to TP. His TP is on cooldown, so Bane using the Fiend script there to catch him out. The range creep followed him into the trees, it looked like.
Rubik just walked in and caught Iceberg. Doesn't look like he's actually gonna catch him for good, but still, like a closer call than you would want to see.
And now he has the Blink Dagger, so that gives them a bit more catch potential on this Radiant team. Something they have catch, but they don't have like this long range initiation. Like Bane isn't going to have a like Aether Lens or Blink Dagger. Mag has a Blink, but Blink RP is more like you want to save that for a big team fight. So having a Blink Telekinesis will go a long way for their draft. And Shaman's just playing Suicide down mid lane to create space for his team. Aloha Dance, I don't think was expecting to get this tower, or probably even expecting to get it live. This Ukraine team just looks like they're still waking up.
And that gold lead is just going to get bigger and bigger, and the gold lead is almost not going to be... It's going to be a factor, obviously, but it's just not going to be what Ukraine's going to be focusing on. They're going to be focusing on their Tier 3 towers and the health of those, making sure they don't lose their shrines. Outer towers, I think, are kind of a given. Those are going to be given away at some point. It's just too hard to defend those with the potential wraparound that Keen's able to do, especially with these Blink Daggers.
Yeah, having some of those Tinker wards up now. Just the one down bottom, but bottom's a lane where we've seen Ukraine spend a lot of time pretty aggressively pushing up. They've had a lot of vision in that Radiant jungle and still maintain some, so I think Keen Gaming's hoping to find some pickoffs here.
It's going to be one of those really sad games, whereas Ukraine, you're trying to get 400 gold for every 800 they get, you know? And you're happy with that. You're like, yes, we got another 400 gold.
And the good news is you don't need... Midas is a very efficient farming item in the sense you can turn a creep that gives like 40 gold into 160 gold. So you get more for the few creeps that do come your way when your Midas is up. Another pickoff, and it's no one again. He still does not have this Radiance, I believe. Didn't even buy the Relic. He was just short of it, too. I think maybe even had almost enough money. Not getting shackled here, but he's A-okay. They're killing Jakir. This, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a Dota game right now, at least from the Ukraine side. King Gaming's playing this just perfectly. Like, they're playing on the same page. They're playing as a team. Team Ukraine just looks like 5 individuals playing a pub game where no one wants to work together.
Yeah. It's a super fun King game. They're just, you know, if you catch a hero, it dies. There's no fighting back, apparently.
And CK going back for... It just feels weird when you see, like, this Midas armlet into Blink, because it's like, okay, I wanted to be a carry, but now it's like I got to be the initiator.
You are playing with a Tinker, sir. You must be careful of hiding in the areas where Tinker wards are a potential threat.
Going for the Rubik. Wants to take Rubik down with him.
Oh, he almost does?
Oh, that DD. Is he? No. Is that a stolen Hex? Yep. Rubik... Getting some nice steals throughout this game. Oh, I don't know if Phantasm could be considered a nice steal, but he's stealing stuff. At this point, you can take whatever's there since you're so far ahead. You're not really too picky.
Blink Hex, Blink Telekinesis.
Chase is on now. They're smoked up. They're looking for this Tinker again, maybe, hoping someone comes to the mid lane. Instead, it looks like Shaman, Aloha Dance, he gets spotted. Instant dagger as Piego's blinking in, and not much Aloha can do.
You know what a win is in that situation? You're like, I bought 2 more seconds.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
He's on 11 deaths.
I juked them, and they had to spend 2 more seconds looking for me. That's 2 more seconds that my Tinker can push out a creep wave.
Yeah. And Lifestealer can, you know, have 2 more seconds towards his Midas cooldown.
Yeah, because he's not far of creeps right now. He's burrowed a hole. He's burrowed a tunnel in the top left part of the map.
He's going to get Radiance, and it's going to do nothing.
Yeah.
And this is why I haven't liked Lifesteal, because the last Lifestealer game was just like this. Obviously, Lifesteal is still a good hero and is winning games here, so... This game is... I don't think you can say Lifesteal is a bad hero with how this game played out. It's very much... The overall draft has not looked good. As King Gaming look to play around this middle lane. They don't have the Aegis anymore, but they are getting aggressive. They actually catch the Tinker, and they're diving onto the high ground. They've caught more. They've got the Jakiro as well. He did lay out the Macropie, which may stop the creep wave from breaking the high ground. If they can clear out the creeps, they could just, you know, defend their base here. They're going to use double buybacks. That's going to set them even further behind. And I think King Gaming is probably just happy to not get Rax here. And I mean, they're not really in a rush to get Rax at this point, with how far ahead they are.
For sure. Aeon Disc for Razor? Really? That's interesting. So he's just going to make sure he can't get blown up by... Oh, wow.
Oh. Bad RP.
That's They're just diving freely, and no one's over it. He just calls GG.
Yeah, you got to play. I think if you're Ukraine, you know, you're a mixed team. You're not 5 guys that usually play together. You just have to be being active on a game like this. You can't expect to play against a team like King Gaming, who's playing with their full roster, and get away with treating it like a pub game. That was